Hey, it's Brendan. I hope you are having a nice day wherever you are. It's a holiday here in China, and I'm presenting this as a special bonus episode of Big Fish in the Middle Kingdom. This is an episode of my new podcast called If I Knew You Better, and occasionally I will put those on here as a bonus because I'm trying to introduce people to that new show, and especially if I think that guest will have some resonance and be interesting to the Big Fish audience. And this guest is Raymond Ma. Raymond is a very successful actor in Hollywood, very recognizable. We get into all this in the episode, of course, so I'll keep this brief. But he's originally from China. He was born and raised in Hong Kong and moved his senior year of high school to Hawaii and then eventually made his way to the mainland U.S. But Raymond has a great story, and I want to make sure that people get to experience that new show and hear these interviews that I could have just as easily put onto this show, and I don't want you to miss it. So please enjoy this new episode of If I Knew You Better with Raymond Ma. Welcome back to If I Knew You Better. I'm Brendan Davis, your host, and this week's guest is someone who I've been lucky to get to know over about the last 10 or so years, Raymond Ma. Raymond is an actor. He was born in Hong Kong, China, but he ended up moving with his family to Hawaii when he was in high school, and he tells a pretty funny story about that. Raymond is really one of my favorite people who I just don't see very often. If you have seen television in the U.S. especially, you have seen Raymond somewhere. He's done film and plays as well, but he's done a lot of TV. Some of his credits include Lost. He was in the plays Chinglish and also the play of Joy Luck Club. He had a recurring role on Fresh Off the Boat, playing Randall Park's father. And back in the day, Raymond had a really cool arc on my favorite TV show ever that deals with entertainment, that is, Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, which was this one-season series from Aaron Sorkin and Tommy Schlamme, who directed and was the other executive producer. And that's quite a story. Raymond had this great recurring arc as a Chinese billionaire CEO who was trying to make a deal with the network that this show aired on, and trouble ensued. It was really funny. So I think what struck me as I listened back to the interview and kind of made just, a couple of notes here, whether it's on TV with this often really hilariously deadpan persona or just sitting down and chatting with him, Raymond totally cracks me up. And speaking of funny, I have this list. I asked him what else has happened since we recorded this. We did this back in an Airbnb that I was in Los Angeles about a month and a half ago. And it's pretty echoey. Last week's show was also there. Next week's show was recorded there. So that's why the sound quality is so different from, what you hear right now. I'm in my studio here in Beijing, which is very quiet. I'm on a different microphone. But it sounds good, so it should be fun to listen to, but it's just a different environment. And while we were there, though, the reason I'm mentioning this, every time there's a laugh, it really kind of echoes, and it just reminded me how fun this was. But it's been so much time has passed. It's been about 6 weeks or so. And so I messaged Raymond yesterday saying, hey, what have you been working on? Because I've been seeing him posting some stuff on social media. And, basically, what have you been working on that I could talk about that maybe is not, something we talked about in the show? And so his current projects, speaking of funny, have him working with some of the other funniest people in the world. He's in this movie called Always Be My Maybe with Ali Wong and also Randall Park. And he plays Ali Wong's dad this time, not Randall Park's. And that will be out in the summer, he thinks. That's not 100% sure on the release date. In the last 2 weeks alone, though, he has wrapped two really cool things. He wrapped a role on the new Chuck Lorre TV pilot, which, of course, Chuck Lorre and his partners brought you, there's Mike and Molly, but you probably know him from a little show called Big Bang Theory, things like that. And also, Raymond did a TV commercial with the absolutely hysterically awesome Aquafina. So if you are younger than me, you probably know Aquafina from a lot of things online, but most everybody got to know her as that really insanely crazy and hilarious girl in Crazy Rich Asians, if you saw that. We get really candid in this interview about several things. We talk about racism and how that has affected him or not in different ways, and the value of sometimes subverting racial expectations and casting in the name of art. And I think that Raymond has an interesting opinion that's somewhat contrary to the popular opinion of the moment, but I love where he's coming from, and I actually agree with Raymond, so listen to that and see what you think about that. And he even talks about being homeless for a brief while. He was lucky he wasn't sleeping rough, as the British would say, outside. Raymond's experiences, plus just living in LA and traveling around and seeing the homeless situation, inspired him to create this very beautiful short film he made called I Don't Have a Phone. That's a film that he actually put together himself. The conversation goes a lot of places. I hope that you enjoy it as much as I enjoy talking to Raymond. Now, please enjoy that conversation with Raymond Ma. All right. Well, Raymond Ma, thanks for being here today.
Hey, thank you. I'm happy to be here, Brendan.
I'm really excited to sit and talk with you like this. How do you introduce yourself to people who you would like to know better?
Well, I'll just tell them, hi, I'm Raymond Ma, and I'm an actor.
Very nice.
Period.
Awesome. And we met on a film set here in LA, which is kind of a special thing. And this was before I'd even myself been to China or mainland or Hong Kong or Asia. Yeah. So I got to know you in this real American context. What or where do you consider your roots to be? And how did where you come from get you on this path that you're on today?
But it's something like life, you cannot control it and want to direct exactly where you want to go.
Right.
It's always a detour, right? So I was born and raised in Hong Kong. So when I was growing up, like maybe 6, 7 years old, understand and go to movies and I watch Three Stooges, the rest goes. Okay. So I enjoyed it so much. It's so funny. And then, but sometimes in other shows, like it can make you cry and make you happy. So that's what I want to do. I want to make people happy, So let them enjoy their life or that moment. That's why I start liking acting. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you have a chance to do a lot of acting as a boy when you were really kind of young?
No. Well, I remember when I was in first grade. And then like a year-end celebration, each class has to represent, do something, right, for entertainment,
right,
for the class. So I remember that I was one of the kids in the one number dance. It's like we were doing the American Indian dance.
Okay.
Yeah, like hoo.
This is in Hong Kong.
It was in Hong Kong, first grade, right? Okay. So I say, hey, is it hard? I don't think it's too hard because all I have to remember is 1, 2, 3, 4 every step, okay, and turn. Okay, so I did it, and then I enjoyed it. I said, hey, that's fun.
Awesome.
So that was my first performance, I would say.
Right.
Yeah, and then from there on, and then I really wanted to pursue like acting, but. Oh, and then when I was in high school, I think it was Hong Kong, 3 years in high school, which is here.
It's like a junior
6, 7, 8, ninth grade.
Oh, ninth grade.
So ninth grade.
Okay, so that's technically the third year of middle school or the first year of high school in the U.S., depending on how your
They have like 6 years primary, right?
Exactly.
And then it go on to...
There's middle school in the U.S. and then high school.
Right.
Or like junior high. Sometimes people call it junior high, then high school.
Yeah.
It depends on where you live.
So when I was ninth grade... And then also we have a Christmas performance. So my teacher asked me, okay, you just have to do something. You're in charge. I said, oh my God, what is it? What am I going to do? Right. So the very night I went home and then wrote a 10 pages dialogues.
10
of
pages?
A play. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I didn't know how I do
Making it easy for yourself. 10 pages is a lot. I think everybody can get an idea.
I didn't even know. I have no idea how to write a play or anything. But I think, okay, this guy talks and this guy talks. I just write it down. Oh, A, talk. B, talk. So I just wrote it out like that.
Yeah.
And then, we put up a performance. I like to use every member in my class, right?
Okay.
Because just to be fair, you know.
Sure.
So I used up the whole class people.
So everybody got to play. Everybody got a part. Nice.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just 10 pages for you to memorize. It was 10 pages
for them to memorize. But I wrote it out.
Good.
Yeah. So anyway, so it was fun too. Yeah.
Nice. And how did you go from Hong Kong to the States?
Okay, so that's maybe 2 years later. When I was 17, 1 year before I graduated high school. And then we had to immigrate, the whole family, right, with my mother and brothers to Hawaii.
All right.
So actually, I didn't want to come to America because I know what I'm going to do. I want to join the Hong Kong TV station.
Right.
Okay. So, but nobody knows. And I was afraid to tell anybody because acting is not the Chinese people want you to get into, right? They want you to go education, doctor.
Go be an engineer.
Right?
It's not,
engineer. Yeah, I wasn't any of that. So anyway, but I did express that I didn't want to come here. And then I talked to my teacher too. And somehow she's willing to take me under her wings, like talk to my mother and saying that, okay, he only has 1 year to graduate. Why don't you just let him stay 1 year, and I'll take care of him.
Wow.
I never forget that. And I'm so grateful that she wanted to help me.
That's amazing.
Amazing. But anyway, didn't work. So I had to come.
Okay. So you still, that's a really fantastic offer, but it had to be a bit of a letdown when that didn't work out. Yeah. So you show up and you're all like you're bummed out. You show up in Hawaii. It's not that many people who would think they would move to Hawaii and be disappointed.
Being disappointed. I think I'm the only one.
Oh man.
Yeah, moved to Hawaii and being disappointed.
This sucks. Yeah. Said no one but you ever.
Yeah. But from there on, I was really depressed. I was really depressed for several years. Okay. So I was 17, and then 7 years. I was working hard. All odd jobs like driving cab, cooking. What else? Security guard, right? Or even wash dishes. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't happy.
Sure.
I wasn't making money. I wasn't happy. Yeah. And then I just blow the money on gambling and stuff. Yeah. Bet on the football.
Okay. All right.
Every single game.
Really? Okay. So this was more than a hobby. This was
more
a problem.
Problem. Yeah. I was so depressed. I guess I was looking for something more excitements and stuff. I think, psychologically I'm screw up, not with the F word.
Sure. Well, being broke is pretty exciting. Yeah. So if you gamble a lot, you learn what being broke is like, probably. Yeah, so finally when I was 24, I said, I got to do something. I'm so sick of my life, right? So I got to do something. So I think acting, that's what I wanted, and then I better get into it. So, and then I start taking acting classes, and then the coach introduced me to join the Hawaii 5-0, the old one, the original one. Hawaii 5-0. So I start working like backgrounds, built from there. And then Jack Lord gave me my first line. Really? Jack Lord, you started on Hawaii 5-0 that I enjoyed as a kid.
Yeah. So, yes.
I think you're about 10, 12 years older than me. And so that show was a big part of my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
So Jack Lord got you in SAG.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like? When you realized, the star of the show threw me a bone and I'm going to be able to get in the union. Really,
it was amazing. It's like at that moment, I wasn't really that excited because I don't know what's the big difference. Sure, it's like, that's just my next step. Right. To do it. That's all. But I remember that Jack Lord, he's really a nice guy. He observed everything, and then he was helping the Hawaiian people a lot. Yeah. So it's really come from his heart, and then. The reason why he gave me that line, because he asked me to do things like walking on the set or doing stuff like a few times before. Yeah. that he remembers me.
Sure.
Yeah, because I don't know, some reaction, like he didn't like some other people do it, and then he just asked me to come over.
But he got to know you and knew that, that guy he'll do it right, and he won't. With background, you're trying not to pull focus from the main action, so it's a tricky thing. People often, people who don't know and don't really think about it, they look at, what you call extras or background actors, and they don't even often think of that, realize that, that's an easy job to screw up. Because you glance at the camera, or you just something, you move at the wrong time, and you pull focus from the story of the main actors, and so it's actually it's a subtle kind of an acting job that's really important.
I remember that the one scene right before I got my line, the other job was like Jack Lord McGarrett was running up the escalator, okay, and I'm supposed to be coming down the escalator and bump into him. And someone else didn't do it right. So he called me and do it. So I think that was before he gave me my line. Yeah, so I think he remembered that.
So he gave you, nowadays we would say that was a stunt bump, because you were running.
Really?
You're running, and you're supposed to brush past the star.
But I didn't get a stunt pay.
Well, it's okay. Hey, you got it in the union. So.
Right. So I want to say is that when you work on something, any project, not just acting, but any project, anything you do, you just have to do it wholeheartedly.
Right.
You never know where you're going to go from there and who's watching you.
Totally.
You just concentrate. There's no small job or big job. Whatever you do, you just have to do it right.
I've had this experience. I've been in the position when I've been hiring for something that I've been able to use that too, where you observe somebody who's really dedicated, and they're not even saying, give me attention.
Right.
But they're just, you can see that person is doing the best they can. It's like, I bet she would be perfect for this, or I bet he would be reliable.
Or I'll remember him.
Exactly.
If I get a chance to hire him, right?
I've been the beneficiary of that a few times too, or even just met somebody in the context, and then met him in a different context, and for some reason I made a good impression, although we didn't even have a direct.
Right.
But they somehow remembered some earlier interaction or something. Yeah. So, you've done a lot of stuff. So let me just say, different people are going to recognize you from different things. We'll put links in the show notes that people, and we'll talk about some of your stuff as we go through here. But, for me, I loved you. We talked about this, but I love the character you played, this really funny arc on this, my favorite show that lasted one season, which was Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip with Aaron Sorkin. And so, you were familiar to me when you first popped up on this film that I got to visit, that one of my old film students was shooting. So, I looked you up and then realized, I've seen this guy in everything, right? Because it all kind of came together. But what did you consider to be your first kind of real success? Hawaii Five-O gives you a foot in the door, and there's probably some great stuff between there and whatever your next big level was. But what was sort of your arc to where you're sort of feeling like, this is really, you probably didn't think that you had a career when you first, like you said, the Hawaii Five-O thing, it's important in retrospect, but at the moment you're just like, okay, it wasn't. What was that next step that was where you knew, this is like the next real step, I've just done it?
Yeah. I tell you, actually, it's none. Because the way I look at it is like I'm just doing one step at a time, and then, I've done this one. Especially in show business, you will never know what's going to be next.
True,
it's not necessarily you're going to be another step up or another level. Don't kid yourself here, right? You might be doing one big thing, and then the next thing, you'll never see yourself again in 10 years.
I'm trying to feed the narrative.
Yeah, there
fantasy.
You go.
I'm aware of the reality. I'm too well aware of the reality.
Yeah. Well,
but what are some of the things that you started to do? What are things that now you can? Yeah, actors hate that question. What do I know you from? Oh God, please. Yeah. But actually, there are, depending on who you're talking to, there are probably a dozen different things people would know you from. What are some of the things that stand out, kind of on the resume?
I as you say, at that time, Studio 60 on Sunset Strip, that was pretty good because when I walk out on the street, people recognize me and come to talk to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So that makes me feel so great, you know?
Awesome.
Yeah, I remember. And then, because that was the biggest show of the year at that time.
They thought that was going to be a huge hit. And I love it. I used to show some of the episodes in film school when I was teaching. I would show different things for different reasons. And really well done show and just, very expensive show to make. And
because Aaron Sorkin's,
right.
He's a great writer, you know. He can write something, 200 things happening at the same time.
Right.
It's like it's so busy that you have to pay attention, you know.
Exactly.
And like telling your wife, don't bother me, don't talk to me, okay? I'm watching.
Exactly.
You know, that kind of.
Well, there's always a lot of foreground and background simultaneously in his scenes. In a lot of scenes. Yeah. I mean, there were plenty of scenes where you or your character or that story was like the main point.
Right.
And then there were other scenes where like you and the girl who played your daughter, briefly, but where you would be in the room and you're having a conversation with her this evening. Sometimes it's like the secondary line, but the other characters are watching. And the fact that we could see you in the background.
Yeah, it's like a setup.
Having some conversation. And if you're really paying attention, you're like, this is not going to be good. She's telling him something and he's about to light something on fire.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorkin is amazing.
So that's a Sorkin thing. But so people started recognizing you for that.
From there actually on, my career was doing pretty good. Yeah. So every time, I don't know, when I get a big thing, I say, okay, this is it, because I never thought of I could get this far. Right. And then, okay, whatever happened is fine. I can retire now, you know? Every time I tell myself that, it's like, okay, I can retire now. I already got that done, you know?
Nice, check.
Yeah.
And then the universe tells you, you're not done yet.
Then until next thing comes over, right? Yeah. So it was, amazing.
Well, where was Chinglish in all of this? Because that's something that some people might have seen you in.
Yeah, Chinglish was back in 2011. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the Sorkin show was 2006.
2006 or 8. Mm-hmm. Yeah, at that time. And then, of course, I did a lot of guest starring roles. I remember one, too, I did on Lost. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Went to Hawaii. It was great. Back to my home.
This time you're happy to go to Hawaii.
Right.
You had a whole different perspective on that, didn't you?
And by the way, from Lost, I play a Filipino doctor. Was that for delivering a baby?
Okay.
Yeah, in the show. And I still have fan mails. Amazing. Really? From that,
Lost had a passionate fan base. If the 10% of Lost fan base watched Studio 60, that show would still be on the air.
Yeah, they sent me the picture of the show of me and then tell me autograph it and send it back to them. You know, that was nice. Yeah. So, and then to Chinglish. So actually, a year before Chinglish, I was doing a Joy Luck Club tour. It's a play.
Right.
So, but I haven't done play since I was in Hawaii in college when I was attending University of Hawaii. So it was like maybe 25 years away. So far. So I never got a chance to do a play. So, at the same time, and then I got Joy Luck Club and then Chinglish. Mm-hmm. But, Chinglish is a big thing. You know, David Henry Wong is a Grammy Emmy Award winner, right?
Exactly.
And the playwright is great, you know? So I said, I'll get this chance to do the play.
And how between those two plays, how long were you touring?
Okay, Joy Luck Club, we've been touring like, 2011, 12, up to 14. Nationally, all the, going through like Seattle, New Mexico, Texas, right. Even Toronto, all over. And Chinglish, we did it in, South Coast Repertory. Mm-hmm. And then, went on to Hong Kong. But, and then the show was like all sold out, every single show.
Wow.
So it was amazing. Yeah.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah. And and I missed the stage so much. You know, I haven't done that for 25 years, and then I came back and done those 2 shows. It's like, hey, I'm addicted to it now. I want to do more, right?
Yeah.
And then just most recently, like a year and a half ago, someone offered me to do another show in New York, you know, off Broadway.
Yeah.
But hey, New York, you know, who doesn't want to go there, right? Yeah. And I don't even have to audition, right?
They offered it to you.
Yeah, they offered me. Yeah. And then my agent said, hey, it's pilot season. Don't do
so
it.
You didn't go because they wanted you to stay. Oh, man.
Oh, man. I said, all right, I'm not going to go.
Oh, that's
and then it turned out to be, actually, it's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you gotten some good stuff during pilot season?
I got a feature film with Ali Wong, Randall Park from Fresh Off the Boat.
Right. Which you recur on Fresh Off the Boat as Randall Park's dad.
Yeah.
And so are you his dad in the film too?
No, this time I am the dad of the girlfriend, Ali Wong. Oh. So Ali Wong is a great stand-up comedian.
Love her. Have you shot it already, or is it coming out?
We've done it already.
Okay.
It may be coming out this summer, maybe May. I cannot say.
Sure.
But, you know, and that was great. So I got that job.
Wow.
You know?
What's that one called?
It's called Always Be My Maybe.
Okay. and
it's a rom-com too.
And so it's Ali Wong and Parker, the couple that are trying to get together, and they have issues, no doubt.
Yeah.
To make it funny.
Oh, there are so many talented comedians in the show. It's all good.
Oh, it's got to be an awesome cast with that group of people. So it worked out great because you got a cool feature.
Yeah.
So you had to reluctantly not do the theater gig. But what? Let me ask you this. You made a film. We have connected several times. There's been several periods where we met up, and one of those periods where we saw each other several times was a series of film festivals and film events with Asian or Asian American cinema. Because I was there with Elaine Shah, who had Metamorphosis that I helped produce, and you had your film I Don't Have a Phone.
Yes.
So what's that film about, and what motivated you to make that film? Because you're the filmmaker on that.
Right. Because I heard the story about all the homeless people.
Yeah.
And then that one story was from Hawaii. I forgot that Korean lady's name, but it happens to her. Okay. And she and her father separated like over 20 years. And then one day she was walking down the street and saw her father was walking, you know, and that was a shock to her. And then she followed him and tried to get him back home. But it took like 2 years, you know, before he was willing to come back home. So I thought that was a very touching story. So that inspires me to write a short film. I wrote it like 20 pages film, right?
Yeah.
It ended up like 40 minutes, 40 pages.
Wow. Okay.
You know? Yeah, because because we have about over 60,000 homeless people in LA.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And in Hawaii too. You know, so it's a really big issue that you know, we have to take care of these people, or even, you know, try to help them out, see where we can, you know, put them.
Right.
So so I that makes me want to make that film. Yeah.
What was the response like? I mean, I know you played a lot, got a lot of recognition for the film. Yeah. What was the most, you know, what was the most satisfying part of it for you?
Well, it was. I was so happy that we got 8 different awards, like best writing, best score, best writing. Oh, best actor for me.
Right.
And then 2 best actresses on my, so it's amazing. Both of them, you know, so there's 3. So, so we got 8 awards. A best audience award.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm so happy get my words out and then make people aware of what the situation about the homeless people.
Yeah. Yeah. What sort of made you look at that? Besides the fact, I mean, you can't not see it. And, you know, as you said, both your first U.S. home and now your current U.S. home, it's just a rampant problem. But what was it that sparked you to? I mean, again, you came across this true story, and is that just it touched your brain and your heart, and you thought, I have to somehow address this? I mean, was that what motivated you, or did you? How did you connect to it yourself? I mean, or did you think there, but for the grace of God to go, I mean, I think a lot of us have that moment sometimes. You know?
I guess it's all different moments that add up to that. Because, of course, every day when you drive down LA and especially downtown area, you see all the homeless people there. And it's not nice for the guest from other country to come over and see, hey, what's going on here in LA, right? And all that too. And actually, at the bottom of my heart, I think I was one time like homeless almost. I would say, actually, I qualified for as homeless.
Okay.
Because I had no home, no place to live because, you know, I was a struggling actor, no money, right? So I had to live in my friend's house without paying him, you know. Just sleep in the couch, of course, like everybody else.
Sure.
Yeah, and then one time I paid $200 to live in my friend's closet. Just enough for me to lie down. That's $200, okay, in Santa Monica.
Wow, that's the Santa Monica rents for you.
Yeah. Rent control.
That's in closets $500 now. I think I saw it on Craigslist.
If it's not rent control, it could be higher.
This is a great closet. Man.
Yeah,
it's going fast at 800. Yeah.
And then I live in another friend's garage in summertime.
Okay.
But the garage was like all full of stuff already.
Full of junk,
no room.
and no air
I just squeezed myself into the gap, you know, to sleep.
Okay.
But man, summertime, you know, it's like 100 degrees. Yeah. Especially the garage is really hot.
No airflow in there.
Exactly. So during the day, I cannot go back in. I just have to find a park and somewhere to hide myself, right?
Yeah.
And then at night, the heat's still there.
Sure.
So you cannot get back in until 3 a.m., 4 a.m. It's like, that was my life.
How long was that period for you?
It was like about 3 months or so.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how I got out of that situation.
Well, I won't make this about me, but I mean, I've had my moments of I relate to that, my own version of that really well. And you know, part of this business up and down. I mean, one of my mentors and friends is a producer named Barry Berg, and I'm paraphrasing and crediting him. He might think I don't remember saying that. He probably would, but he said something once. I had him speak to a group of students at a Q&A thing at Warner Brothers that I hosted for my old school where I taught, and he said he was prompted to say, "It's easier to get rich producing than it is to earn a living." And it's not easy to get rich, but
I agree.
I relate to that, and so I've been trying to prove that wrong to overcome it all this time, but it's totally cyclical. You know? And with acting, it's like even when you do well, it's like you might make what's just objectively, wow, that's a great rate for a day or a week or whatever, but then when it's over, how much time before and after that did you not work? Exactly. Or you look for the next thing, and so that seemingly really great rate is like, okay, spread that out over the 6 months or where the duration is. It's more people struggle. Writers, actors, directors, producers. Craft people. You know, people moving out here who want to be a grip or want to be in camera department, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know anybody yet, and I have to pay dues.
Exactly.
So it's a real common LA story, and like you said, driving around LA. I mean, you see people that one of the strangest things. This is not apropos of you. Again, you prompt me. Sometimes I'll have a weird thought that's not even connected to you. But driving around LA, I mean, you see folks, and you know, homeless or a mix of every kind of person. I mean, people with mental problems or people that just got a really bad luck, and you know, all these things in between. But because it's LA, you do see a lot of people that maybe moved out here to be an actor. Or they have that sort of famous type of a face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They look like a model or an actor, and it's and they're down on their luck in a bad way.
Yeah.
And so it's real easy to connect. I mean, unless you're just a horrible, horrible person, it's impossible not to look and have any human empathy. But especially, I mean, I've seen people who I think I recognized, you know, that maybe had like a had a minute in film or TV or music back in the day, and now they're they're at their worst. What are some of the biggest? I mean, that's a big obstacle. What are some of the other obstacles you face getting established? I mean, let me ask you this, like, again, if I knew you better, I'm going to have a few of these kind of questions. Was racism a big factor in your career?
I think it does. I encounter a few, but I just brush it off, ignore it, because it happens everywhere, more or less. And you are what you are, I'm Asian, I'm Chinese, I have yellow skin. Yeah, that's what it is. I can only do my part. I cannot do anything else. But fortunately, it's like, doing Shakespeare, and you can do Shakespeare, different race, whatever you are, right?
Yeah.
So that's totally different.
Yeah.
But when you are talking about working, acting in film, hey, if there's a white character, you gotta be white, and there's a black character, you gotta be black.
Right.
I have nothing to say,
Sure.
Wow, that's what it is, right? So, and I have no objection for people, different race, playing different part, because this is art. Because I want to explore. Because, for example, if I'm white, I see Japanese geisha is so beautiful, dancing and singing, right? Hey, I want to try to do that, although I'm white, right? That's art. Yeah. But I don't know why people complaining. But if you want to, if it's a documentary and you're white and you want to be Chairman Mao, but that's a little bit off.
Right, and there's a lot of baggage with that. And,
I have no objection. I don't lean on any side, because this is art. As long as you do a good job and believable, and that's fine with me. So I love to see like stage like Shakespeare stuff and all different people do different things.
Well, I mean, Hamilton, one of the biggest successes of modern theater and ever in theater history, and they totally reimagined the U.S. founding fathers, which is one of the most sacrosanct things we have, and there's some people who weren't happy with it.
Exactly.
But it's like, but the whole meta point, I mean, that show stands up, doesn't need me to help be the dramaturge and explain it, but obviously that show, it's like, well, okay, this is American now.
Yeah,
we're using American now to talk about where America started and came from, because we represent actually the promise. And so it's like, okay, I get all that. And I'm, middle-aged.
I've seen a black Hamlet.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And they're, certain of those characters, Macbeth and, Moorish were dark-skinned people, I mean, again, because I am a middle-aged white male, I'm not religious now, but I grew up Episcopalian. I mean, I am the definition of WASP, just according to the technical definition. So I get no vote. I get no vote.
Yeah,
I just have to say, okay,
Agreed.
apparently,
Yeah.
I have to be, and I'm like this, progressive. I think of myself as this progressive guy, I mean, I'm very much kind of center to left to center on most of my social and political stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm a grown-ass man. I'm a 51-year-old guy. So it's like, for better or worse, I mean, there's certain parts that you have to be open and change of society, and certain things that's like, some of this is silly as long as you're not hurting people. And so these ideas, I appreciate, I mean, we'll be alone in the boat on this, but we won't have a lot of company on our island. They'll put us on for saying this, but I appreciate what you're saying about I appreciate that you're not bothered by it. I mean, but I understand people that representation matters, and it does. And especially with the explosion, it's interesting because now I'm wondering, again, this is sort of more of a knew you better sort of question. Are you experiencing any of, I don't think anybody's called the Asian Renaissance, but as the world becomes more accepting, the Western world is becoming more accepting of Asian culture, and there's more blending. Are you experiencing this at all? Do you see positive, negative? Do you even see the needle moving to you?
It is.
Is this like you didn't realize Jack Lord got me a line? Okay. It's like at the moment, it's like, okay, you know.
To me, actually, for a little while, I felt like a little bit overwhelming. It's like, wow, we have a whole, what do you call it, was
like the whole
swarm coming in.
A warm embrace.
What do you call that, not the bees, what is it,
like a swarm
of what do you call
like opportunities or
what do you call that?
Butterflies
attacking the cornfield. What's that?
Oh, locusts.
Locusts. Yes, like
I'm trying to figure out. He's doing a great visual, and I'm like, 7 letters sounds like
it's more Hitchcock. The birds coming, you know. It's like, oh no, you know. I had that feeling, really. So I understand the Americans or other people how they feel because, like, being invaded by, you know, the invaders, you know.
Okay.
I understand that. And same time, like I remember back in the 70s, the Japanese came over, it's the same thing.
Right.
And then I remember myself came from Hong Kong to Hawaii.
Right.
You know, even though I lived in Chinatown, but the Chinese people looked at me like, ooh, who are these new guys? You never seen their faces, you know? It's like I'm invading into their space. But so at the same time, I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
But that's what it is right now. You know. Yeah. But but in our industry, I think it's amazing because so many upcoming young people that go into to college like a New York Film Academy
right.
or even USC, UCLA. There's a lot of them.
Well, and
they're talented.
My old assistant, so shout out to Zhiyuan Zhou. Lolly, she my old assistant for my company in Beijing. When that company kind of blew up, she was like, she'd already been talking. I knew she wanted to go to grad school. She has a TV degree from China. She's like, I really want to go to grad school and film in LA. And I was one of her recommenders and proud to be probably her main recommender. Yeah. And she's at LMU now getting her master's in their film program. And her cohort, I think it's about, seems like it's about 18 people. And it looks like there's like probably 4 other Asian kids who I think are all Chinese. I think they're all mainland Chinese kids. Maybe one of those kids is a Korean kid. Yeah. But because I haven't met them, I just she's talked and I've seen some photos. Yeah. So of their cohort of let's say about 18 people, about a third of them are from Asia, from China, Korea, and that's really common. When I was teaching New York Film Academy. My first class was unusual because I had 2 Chinese students in the class. When I left, it was about a quarter of the class was usually from China, which was really interesting for me because of
now it's like more than half now.
It's probably it's a lot. I actually got to be a guest speaker there in the producing program this a week ago tonight, last Monday, and it was about a quarter of the students in that class were from China. What is? But you had something.
But I think it's a good thing because it opened up a lot of doors, and these kids are very talented with different kind of thinking, different direction. That some films that I haven't thought about, the creativity is totally different. It's like and open up another direction, and it's amazing.
Well, this is what you know enough about what I'm doing to have a sense of it, and this is the show is this isn't about me so much. I just put a little flavor in where it's relevant. This is a conversation I have on my other podcast, the How China Works show, where I have a co-host with a Ying Li female millennial, Chinese female millennial co-host, and so we have our different perspectives, and that's what I'm seeing, whenever anybody asks my opinion about the China film business, because I'm one of these China Hollywood guys. I mean, I'm a junior when compared. I know all the old I know most of the old timers. I know all the medium termers, and I'm one of the last 5, 6, 7 year guys, and know enough to be functional / dangerous when having these conversations. And, I think there are always going to be 2 industries. There's always like the international industry, and then
Right.
there will be a mainland China specific, and for the Chinese
Right,
diaspora,
Yeah.
because of language, because of culture.
Right.
But having said that, I mean, I'm real excited to know and to get to work with, or just to get to applaud or support,
Yeah.
you know, in whatever way, the up and coming talent, because there's so many freaking talented people coming
Yes.
out of
Yes.
mainland, out of the SARs, so many talented people, and they have the extra challenge. If they want to export their talent, they need to learn English. Because to work in the international market, even if they're working like in French film, you know, whatever, I mean, they need to learn English. But if they're able to do that and get out there, and they do, yeah. I was just consistently impressed with most of the students.
Yeah.
You always had the handful that it's like, okay, you just want to come party in LA for a couple of years. I got your number. I totally have your number. But
no, they're pretty serious.
But most of the kids I got to work with and know were really serious, and it's really exciting. So speaking, let me ask you this. You are, this is the real personal. It's a nice, bright, sunny day, and I'm asking you like this late night, thoughtful conversation, like as if we were having the scotch and having a real heart to heart. You are, to put it in plain language, an older dad. Yeah. And I don't have any kids. I'm 51. Yeah. But you're the proud dad of your amazing daughter, Christina, who's like winning awards all over the place with her gymnastics.
I can be prouder. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question about like what's one of your personal proudest moments. I mean, I'm guessing it's connected to that, but I mean, my main question is, what's it like for you just being a dad at now? You know, when did you? Can I ask? When did you have? When did Christina come into your life?
Christina was born 2004. Now she's 14, so I was like 51 already.
It's the same age as me. See, this is what I'm asking. I don't have any plans. Yeah. Right now, my girlfriend's listening to this going, "What are you talking? Oh my god!"
No, because I was a struggling actor. That's why it takes so long.
I'm a struggling producer. That's why I've taken so long.
I got married when I was 40.
Okay.
And to my wife, who was only 24.
Wow.
But it took us 10 years to get a baby because she had, my wife had a hard time to, conceive. So actually, Christina was in vitro.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So test tube.
Wow.
Baby. So she's the only one. And then my wife tried it, the second one, but she just can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that you got the one. So what is that like for you? How has it changed just your perspective on the world?
Well, I don't know, because you know what? Because all my life is that I just have to live and move on to the next step and the next step. I don't really foresee any bright things in the future. I'm so dark.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, it's like I'm a very underground. I don't know. It's like I move step by step. So so I'm not that excited, but in a way, it's like life change is so different. It's like now I'm a dad and I have a kid, and I have to do my duty. Right. So, whatever it does. So that's why I always, like, my wife asked me, how much you love your daughter? I said, no, I'm just doing my job. That's what I say. I always saying like, okay, this is my job because, I have to feed her. I have to take her to school. I have to buy her things. But that's a father's job.
Yeah.
So that's all, So it's so funny. Like, I don't know about people talking about the man, they don't express their love and stuff. I think, we have another way to do it. I think I'm just doing my duty. Right. If you consider that's love, that's great. But I love my daughter.
Of course you do. You're the proudest. You're the proudest dad. Yeah. Watching your social media.
And she's very. I don't know. I'm so fortunate to have her because when she was born and growing up, I had no problem. She'd didn't cry that much, you know. It's just like no problem at all.
Yeah.
You know, she sleeps at night when she was baby. Really.
All my friends who are parents are
amazing.
Either jealous of that, or they also are the minority that understands. Yeah, me too. That was so great.
So now she's, you know, when she get to know things and she knows how to manage herself.
Yeah, and she's a young teenager. She can take care of
she takes care of her own thing. Yeah. She doesn't want us to even interfere. Now it's the teenager,
she's
right?
probably embarrassed. Yeah. If she ever hears this, she's like, Dad, shut up. That's enough about me.
Yeah, because she's a gymnast. Right. So a gymnast is like everything she has to does her own way, you know. She knows what she has to accomplish, what she has to do, and her own routine, right? So she knows how to handle herself.
Have you thought about the parallels between her young budding career and your career? Have you thought about the parallels between a career in acting and working on becoming a world-class gymnast? And have you thought about those? This seems like there might be some similarities in there in terms of it being self-directed. Like you have to have a clear vision of who you are, where you want to go, and then you have to do it. No one waves a wand and says you're a successful actor.
It probably has little influence, I think, but but she doesn't like the work I do.
Really? Why is that?
She just criticized me and doing this the way you speak. She just hey man, that's me, you know, don't worry. Yeah.
Oh man.
So, but that's okay because she has her own vision, you know. Yeah. She wants to be perfect. She's pretty much a perfectionist.
Okay.
So she always say that I have a OCD, you know. I gotta do certain things certain way.
That helps her do her routine.
But I think she observed that from me because when I do my acting, memorizing my line, you know, at what point I have to walk, where, you know, that I think she observes.
You got to figure out the blocking.
And she doesn't even know that she observed that.
That's a good point. How do you... I think I have a sense of this just from talking to you about it, but how do you approach dealing with challenges or adversity?
Work hard.
Yeah.
That's all. You know, if there's any challenge, because the challenge, that means that you are afraid or you hesitate. You're not sure that you can achieve that point to that point. So therefore, it is insecure. So you want to be secure. You want to confirm that you, with confidence, you can do that job. All you can do is do more.
Right.
To overcome that. Right. So I think I worked real hard because especially when I first started, I say, hey, I can't even speak English. How can I do this? You know, so therefore I have to work twice harder or 10 times harder to achieve that.
Oh, you didn't really speak English in Hong Kong that much?
In Hong Kong, we learn English, but never had a chance to speak. Right. So, yeah, 1 or 2 sentences is okay.
But Cantonese is your primary language from home. Yeah, I don't speak any Cantonese. I recognize when people get to talking, I recognize certain things that I've heard. But I don't speak any of it.
When I moved to Hawaii, and then I got depressed. I had depression. I believe I had depression. I was afraid to speak out, you know, speak up or anything. But so I rarely talk to anybody over 1 minute. Okay. So acting actually is helping me. It's a therapy for me, you know. So now I can talk that much now. But like back in the 30s, I still wasn't talk much.
If you could do anything, like if you just, and again, you've written yourself apart before. You might probably do it again, but not putting the pressure on you to create it. But if you could, is there a certain part or a certain character type? Is there somebody you would like to explore? Well, like if you had to, let me ask it this way: if you had the opportunity to either write or to produce and like have somebody like Sorkin write you a part, you're going to play this part for 5-6 years. Like maybe you're going to do a TV show and it's this one guy. What's that guy like? What's he looking at in the world? What are his interests and challenges and his orientation toward the world?
Hopefully that character sends out messages, you know, to the world. Like about this society, what's going on, what we learn from the mistake, and what kind of social issue that we have to improve, right? So especially at this time, so we really have to face the problems and deal with it, so that kind of character I would like to play. Yeah.
What do you wish you were better at?
Yes, always want to be better. That's right.
Sure.
I'm a pretty content person. Right now, it's like I'm so happy where I'm at and what I already accomplished, because it's already more than I was looking for. So I'm happy. But if I want to look for something else, just keep doing more. Yeah.
Last question. Who or what do you most credit for helping equip you for success?
Myself.
Yeah. Good answer, man.
It's not being selfish because, be a good observer. You just observe all around you, what's happening in the world, what it is, and try to understand the whole society, what's happening, and then, and get some insight from that. Right? So, So actually, anyone I've seen, I've talked to, they all my examples. So just try to learn from people. Yeah. Even the bad one, the murderer, whatever, the good people, you learn from them.
Raymond Ma, thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to be had.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, that's the show this week. Don't forget you can find out more about this podcast or my other two podcasts by visiting crazyinagoodway.com. I will say, and I want to plug this really fast, How China Works has a couple of awesome guests coming up in the next few weeks. Please check that show out if you have not done that yet. And I'm going to be rebooting Big Fish in the Middle Kingdom, at least while I'm back in China, with some occasional shows. I have a couple things planned. That will be a lot of fun. Check it out next week. There will be 3 podcasts coming at you next week from different corners of the world that have my name on them. Thank you again, and I will see you then.